Okay, so I'm working on converting the Google spreadsheet from the YBF community. There was a Typeform questionnaire that a lot of people went through, and the process there is going into the data table. Blank tables are way more powerful, but you can synchronize it with other things. So I added a Google spreadsheet. You can only add one at a time. It pops up down here and then allows access. It converts every sheet into a table here, and then you can map it out here so we can go through and see everyone's answers. And clearly, there's a lot of things to parse out. Splitting these up, removing the hash tags or sign, then probably analyzing all of this for tags, which is going to be wild. But you can even create, I don't know what sparks your soul, maker, shapeshifter. Well, when there's a finite list, you can create that and do its own little world of creating, just like I did with, well, whatever. There's choices or accountability style, like upholder. We can have like sections. Certainly earth, wind, fire, put graphics in there. Probably running a sentiment analysis for a lot of these, but for sure tags that so we can allow people to navigate through. So it adds that, and then I can go into navigation and you can just create a new screen from data. So I did that with this here, and it does a great job of automatically, this is basically automatically generated. So it understands the data types. We'll check out Jonathan, and the fields is the easiest way to just show data, and I had to add a few here, but it shows all the different poor me. So it shows all the information here, and the thought is that you want to segment the profiles out, but you also want a common user database. So I go into workflows and I created a convert YBF profile to user. So we have to determine what source data table we're operating on, so we can act on that. And the action here is to add a row. That's in the data section. So we're going to add a row to what table? The users table. And then we have to map the data to the new table users row. So you can click on here and you just go through and manually parse it out. What's your name? What's your email? What's your organization? The rest of it. So this is a lot here, but once we get it going, we're good. I imagine we would want to have a short bio. So I did, naturally there's a lot of like meta information for the YBA, the Yellow Barn app. But then I threw in a new folder for the YBF Life Mission, and maybe type in that. What? World Vision, Personal Life Mission. We had more room here, but okay, so World Vision. So this will be a lot. Fields of knowledge. It's a little confusing here, but this is the reference to the user table, the YBF, and then fields of knowledge. It'll show at least like a demo value. So this will just, expertise, skills, core values. This would be a good time to fast forward. Top core values, work style. The tricky part is that this is just a one directional activity. So you'd think the spreadsheet isn't going to update, so you're not going to synchronize it with anything else. Work Oh, work style. There's two tools, so it's a little confusing. But what are you? I think there's tools 1 and tools 2. We're not going to synchronize, but if I get it wrong, well, whatever, I can delete it. Hobbies, interests, passions, identifier, something. We'll get it mostly there. Unique identifier, white, personal identifiers, attributes. We could also, all right, so I could go into, I created a copy of this spreadsheet, so I'm not, I can just edit it myself, but I could add on a new thing, which is cool because it does actually change it in the spreadsheet itself. We'll say row ID, and that's just the way, because when you create a new row, it will save a new document, and then you can save the row ID to this new row ID, which is useless in the spreadsheet, but allows me to check to see which ones have been updated. So I can throw in a notification, say user added, cool. Okay, so let's just try it out. And we're working with Jonathan. We want to create a button. Here's a button. What does it do? We can find a whole bunch of general actions, but there's also specific workflows for this table. The only one that exists is convert. So we'll say convert. And we can also jump ahead and add a data piece. So we'll say the row ID, we can create another one. We'll say user ref, and that's a relation column. It's really interesting because we're operating from Google Spreadsheets. I guess it really just saves everything as a text field, whereas Glide action or columns have specific utility. So anyway, the relation is going to say where the row ID matches the values in user's ID. So if one exists, and when we convert it, it should create that user ref will show. Then we can add a reference. We'll click on new component, we'll throw in a list, and that pulls from this user reference, which is cool if that exists. And we're not going to be able to add or edit or search, but we'll say user ref. So now when theoretically we'll click convert, user added, boom. Jonathan now as a user exists. We can click on this guy and yeah, and now, so this AI that's funny. I love how conversational it is. So at least now the Jonathan Sand user exists, and potentially you'd want to just link to the spreadsheet value and show it, but we want to add more information to all that. So I don't know, somehow like within our own fields on the user list, we'd want to just add everything from YBF. It'd be nice if they had just like an add folder thing, but we can just add all these pieces. World vision, field of knowledge. I can go through this, skills, etc. But now that we have a user, gosh, I guess I want to, maybe I'll just do one. Fields of knowledge. All right, let's just do one example, and then I could say, so users, we're going to close out the folders. all the tags. This is going to be interesting because I'll probably get rid of that one. Like the AI list is now saying pull from the bio. Huh. Well, what I could, instead of creating individual tags for all of these things, I would probably just combine every one of these bio type responses and then extract the tags from there. Right? Yeah, okay, so, well, that's a start, and I can always delete it. So, oh boy, we'll say main bio, and then I'll create a duplicate. We'll say whatever, full content, sure. And then in the template, oh man, so maybe we'll throw in a comma. Oh man, this is gnarly, but we have a lot of information to work on, so when we get there it'll be great. Bio, add replacement, S, something like skills, YBF skills. What's another one we want to pull in? YBF, life mission. We'll throw that in there, life mission, and we could just keep going with that. Maybe I'll add another one. Oh, it can get confusing when you just have like a single, like obviously live mission. We'll throw in world vision, world vision, world vision. So I've already built out the concept of pulling from the tags and creating them if they haven't been built yet. Oop. And let's do one more. Fields, we'll say. So that's a comma, fields. Okay. Okay, so this won't make sense for any of these other ones that I've added from previous spreadsheet, but this guy, main image, what in heck? This should be, oh, that's interesting. Well, all right, so there is content there. So now I'm going to close out these tasks, AI connections, tags. So the AI list, we're telling AI to list the keywords in lowercase and separated by commas. So hopefully it'll just remove the hashtag pieces, and instead of just the bio, now we're going to tell it to look at the full content. And here we go. Awesome. Ugh, great. Look at you, AI. So Swift, blah, blah, blah. So now I can go back into Jonathan's profile, and here we have the action. Might as well get into it. So the user, this is pretty complex stuff, but I'm proud of it. Where are we? With tags. So basically the idea is you have a list of tags, and it responds in a text format separated by columns or commas. So now, then I create a split text column. I say take that list, split it by the comma. Now we have an array type that we can operate on as a list. Then I create a column with a relation type that says take everything every item in this array and match it to the value in the tags table by the name. Cool. So this, which is a little confusing at first, is a reference type. So it's actually referencing, which is just freaking wild because custom programming, but it's kind of a pain to work with. But this is just built in with references, and Glide is far and away the best with regard to relationships and data. So you can click on the tag item that is referenced by the array list pulled from the AI. But I then want another array of the names. So this is a lookup which pulls from a reference type and then creates an array of the individual names. Now that seems like it's basically the same as this one, which is just the array split. But this was of all of the words that it pulled from, and this is of all of the names in the existing database. And I did that because I need to be able to create new ones and see which haven't been made yet. Like new array tags from the AI response compared to the references we have in our database. So this is a remove elements where you can remove all elements in an array. And I said take these tags, remove all the ref names, and then lastly so we have an array of all the words that we don't have in our list, in our database of tags yet. I need to operate on one individually. You can't create loops basically in Glide, which is an interesting challenge because it's super easy in the custom world, but I imagine that it's just also the easiest way to blow out your server and memory because you can just make a wrong call and it'll just go on forever. So it's interesting. You have to operate, but whatever, you operate on these individually. So there's a single value column that you can say get the first, last, random from start. You can operate on the array like in the position or the index, but just take the first one from this diff, and so we have basically an untagged keyword, we'll say. So I go back into the workflow and there's convert keyword to a tag on the users. So what does this do? It's operating on the user row, and the action is adding a row to the table of tags with this value, the tag single. And for whatever purposes, we're just tracking who's logged in and what the time is. Don't care about adding the new row ID to it, and we can show that notification. So with that word. So this is just an easy way. It's more of a development or admin thing to do, but within Jonathan Sand now, and we could show in the fields column the main full content just to get an idea of this is what we're operating from. These are the keywords, AI list. These are the keywords, the kind of cleaned keywords from all this content, and I'll just go through and add all the other fields. But I can then add Swift and Mac OS and Wix and writing, which is great because these are all the things related to him and his profile. And probably won't show up anywhere because these are not overlapped. These are unique tags to Jonathan. So, iOS, look at that. So iOS popped up. Yeah, and I created a thing from the Glide tutorial, and so there's iOS. Which I think is the most exciting part, because you have so much freaking data, and you just want to conceptually browse it, which is kind of how humans operate. It's just kind of one keyword connected to another. Okay, so just for shoots and giggles, this guy, Steven, Cassingham, let's convert him, bum. He already has design, marketing, and impact, which is pretty freaking cool. Here's his so far aggregated amount, and I can just go through. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but again, it's it really is like AI learning particular keywords. It's like a child, and a child is learning a new word, which is wild. It's like, oh, they've never heard of the word boulder dash, and so then you talk to them what boulder dash is, and then they create relationships and neurons between these concepts. And so you want to break down all data. You want to have it structured for the human processing as far as reading it and taking action on it, but then you also just want a generic word map, mind map, and this operates that, and I haven't really seen any other app do it. So, okay, all of these tags were added, none of them were overlapping, but impact, yeah, okay, the stock market is somewhere in here, it's talking about impact, biodiversity, all the rest of it. Okay.